Had you ever heard of HPV, and were you comfortable sharing your diagnosis with your family and friends?
Thank you for having me as well. And let me begin by saying I am not a doctor. I'm a survivor, so I don't give medical advice. No, you know what? I had known HPV was a sexually transmitted disease. I didn't know it was the most common. I certainly never heard of oropharyngeal cancer. In fact, the first time I knew that's what I had, I actually had to practice saying it repeatedly to make sure I pronounced it correctly. And didn't I ended up, being diagnosed with HPV related tonsil cancer. And not only had I never heard of HPV nor tonsil cancer, I had never known anyone to be diagnosed with it. Again, this is back in 2014. So it was, something I was completely not familiar with. And quite honestly, not until I decided to go public with my cancer story, did I ever even use the letters H, P, and V together. So again, no, I was not familiar with it at all. Was your second question how to explain it to family?
Yeah, and then how were you comfortable, or how did you do your diagnosis?
Carol, do you want to go ahead?
I was just going to make a clarification. HPV is not a sexually transmitted disease, but an infection. Some people happen to get a disease or malignancy from it.
So let me say, once again, as I said up front, this is why I tell you I am not a doctor. Just a survivor, because I give no medical advice and defer to doctors like Dr. Fakri, who, because again, not a doctor. So thank you for saying that, because I never want to say anything that's not correct. In fact, my cancer story has been shared in over 100 countries. I better make sure I don't say that ever again. How did I explain it and share it with family is what your question was, correct?
Yes.
I had no stigma. When I found out about it, the whole idea of having an HPV related cancer didn't even cross my mind that I should be embarrassed about it. I hope when I make this next statistic, like when I say this next thing, it's correct, Carol, or Dr. Fakri. I learned that 3 out of 4 adults by 30 have HPV, and it was very common. And I thought, if 3 out of 4 adults by 30 have this, I don't know why I would ever be embarrassed or anyone else would be embarrassed. So when I learned that, I decided I would go public and hopefully shared that message to stop others from ever feeling isolated, alone, or embarrassed.